Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is Overland Weekly, episode number 32. My name is Davey. I am your host. And if this is your first time listening or watching this, you have found the show that discusses the people, places, and events that make up the off-road and overland community. And if you're watching this, then you can see that I've got a couple of those people joining me for the conversation on this episode, Mr. Caleb Morrison and Mr. James Jenkins. Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us.
Yes, sir. Guys, we're gonna, and don't worry, we're gonna dive into all their rigs and trips and all that. But if you're not familiar with James and Caleb, they are big fans of all things, big fans of all things full size. Yep. It got me thinking about kind of the evolution of this hobby and of off-roading in general. And going back, I thought, back 80 years ago or so, post Second World War, you've got these servicemen coming back. They've been exposed to this thing called a Jeep. It might have been a Willys, might have been a Ford, and they got home and they said, those things were kind of cool and they were nimble and you could, take them places, and now they're available to buy here, and let's go get that and go blaze a trail. But they were real purpose built, right? Couple thousand pounds, perfect size, fit in all these tight spots. And here we've gone all these years later from that simplicity and said, let's take these vehicles that on paper appear to be probably the most impractical to fit down these trails and overcomplicate this to go build it because it's fun, right?
100%.
Well, yeah, you know how many times I've heard this. Why would you pick a full-size rig, number one? And number two, why a square body? I can't tell you how many times I get that question. I'm sure James got it way more than I have because his is, a crew cab. But I have heard that so many times. And I'm like, why not? It's just cool.
Well, and I'll ask this to both of you. Have you always been full-size guys, always been Chevrolet guys? Was it a teenage years thing? How did the passion start?
Go ahead, James.
I've always have. My first truck was an '84 Chevy square body, and that was in 1996. And then shortly after, I got a GMC Jimmy, a full-size Jimmy that I had for forever. I still have parts and pieces of it laying around because I've rolled it several times. And then, but I've almost always, since I was able to drive, had a square body Chevy at one. I've always had one. I don't think I've ever gone a year when I did it.
Were you in a Chevy family, James?
No, not particularly.
Interesting.
My parents had anywhere from Datsuns to Fords to Chevys to a little bit of everything. Not one particular brand growing up.
Because, in this part of the country, particularly, like sometimes you're born into a brand and you can't leave that brand without leaving the family.
Oh, yeah.
So,
yep. Yeah. They take it very seriously.
Yeah.
For me, I grew up, my dad always had Chevys. And I'll be honest with you, the reason why my dad has always had Chevys is because they're the cheapest to work on. Not because they're the best. And I'll be the first one to tell you, I'm a mechanic and do stuff. I have a shop. And they're not the best. There's things that are not great. But my dad was cheap. He's tighter than bark on a tree. And so that's how we kind of grew up was, hey, we're going to drive this because it's something I can work on and it's cheap. So that's how I started out, was in everything Chevy or GM products. And then in high school, kind of like you, James, first vehicle I got was an '85 square body. It's 2-wheel drive, not 4-wheel drive, but it was a long bed, single cab, and I drove that thing. Had a 305, which is, if you guys are familiar with that, it is the worst gas guzzling engine with the no power.
I was going to say, what were those have? 150 horse or something? Yeah,
maybe. It doesn't feel like that when you're driving it. It feels like it has 100. but it will not pass a fuel station. The only thing worse is a 454, which thank God I didn't have that. But yeah, I started out with the square body right from the get go, and I worked on it every week in the parking lot, at the high school or at O'Reilly's, because I was good at tearing stuff up, and I'm still pretty good at tearing stuff up. So that's how I started.
So it was a two-wheel drive. So were you
Mhm.
that kid cruising around town? I'm assuming it was an open rear end, doing those
Yep.
one-legger burnouts at every
Oh
stop
yeah.
sign. Let
The
that
old one tire
305 eat. Yeah.
fires were all over the place. I thought it was the coolest thing in the world. Also, I thought the coolest thing in the world was to get Glasspacks. And, you could
Oh,
hear me coming from 2 miles
Oh,
away,
yeah.
did that for a while. And my
I
dad,
had glass
after
packs.
you got to have them. But years later, my dad's like, whenever, you had to come home and be home at 10 o'clock, he's like, we could hear you coming from miles away and you were late most of the majority of the time getting home. So it really didn't help my cause any.
uh, that's so it started early for both of you.
Mhm.
Caleb, what was your first four-wheel drive one?
So I would say whenever I got into high school, I started kind of following Peterson's Off-Road magazine. If you guys are fully aware of that, and I started buying the magazine. I didn't have a subscription right off the bat. I started buying out of the gas stations and following it, and it just kind of clicked with me. I just really like seeing all these builds, and I'm sure you guys can relate, but man, just some of the products that they would have in those magazines. I'm like, man, one day I'm going to be able to afford to build something with those cool things. Like, this sounds really ridiculous, but I remember thinking to myself, like, I want a Warren winch so bad, just so I can say I have a Warren winch. You know what I mean? Or a KC light. Like the old
Oh
school with the
yeah.
covers. Like I always thought that was the coolest thing. So that's where I started on looking into this. And then right when I got married when I was 20 years old. Me and my wife are high school sweethearts. And I got a chance. I was buying a lot of military surplus right out of high school and reselling it and trying to make money that way. And freshly married and didn't have, two pots to do anything with, if you know what I mean. And anyways, I found a CUCV in Mississippi. And so I ended up buying this CUCV off Gov Liquidation. That's how long ago it was. They're far gone now. But bought a CUCV, and my buddy Ryan Underwood, he has got a crew cab, yeah, big yellow one that's on
Hmm.
Facebook. He went with me and my best friend from high school. We went and bought that CUCV, and I know this is a crazy story, but it hadn't been running. We found the paperwork in the front seat. Hadn't ran since 1997, and this is 2015 when I bought it.
Oh wow.
Hadn't ran that long, right? So no fluids, and if you guys know military stuff, they drain everything. So when it goes into storage, there's no fluids at all, nothing, top to bottom. So I'm like, okay, cool. We put it on a trailer. We start heading back to to Oklahoma from Mississippi. We get to Texas. My buddy at the time in Oklahoma, they don't sell 6 point beer. It's 3.2. So he's like, I got to whip into this gas station. I got to get stocked up. And I'm like, man, it's 2 in the morning. Let's not do that. He had to do it. We pull in there. He whips in with the trailer. The trailer tire with the truck on it passes us in the parking lot, falls off the trailer. Yes, in the parking lot. It's 2 in the morning. He goes and gets a beer. Well, it had broken the hub off the trailer. So we're trying to figure out what we're going to do. I'm going to weld it back on. No one has a welder. It's 2 in the morning. We're in some little podunk town in Texas. My buddy
But
Ryan.
but you got beer. That's
Well,
that's
yeah,
that's
we
the
had
only thing
beer and
you
we were,
accomplished.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. We were hanging out, having a good time, but we're like, man, we got to get back home. So Walmart at the time was open 24/7. So
Mhm.
Ryan, Ryan Underwood, he was like, hey, let's just go get the fluids and some batteries and just throw them in there and see what happens. And I'm thinking, dude, it hasn't been running since 97. He's like, it's a diesel, it'll be fine. Okay, so we go to Walmart, spend $600 in fluids and batteries, and go back to the gas station. And we put the batteries in, put all the fluids in, it fired up like it had been running yesterday.
No.
Uh, Drove that truck all the way back home from a little podunk town in Texas, which is like 300 and some miles. But I drove that thing with tires from literally 2002 on that truck all the way back to Oklahoma. So that was how I got my first wheeling rig. So it's, Dana 60, 14 bolt,
Yep.
had like 15,000 miles factory, no rust on it. I had a name for it, my Mississippi Army truck, and my wife called.
Yeah, Caleb was just finishing up telling us how that CUCV fired
Uh,
right up. Yeah,
like it was running the day before.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
And it got
Well,
like
it's
21 miles a gallon. It did great. I couldn't believe it.
I know. They're great platforms. I've had, well, both of these are CUCVs, parts of them, and I've had
Yep.
5 or 6 of them. They're just wonderful vehicles.
Well, for the listener that maybe is a little bit younger and doesn't know what we're talking about when we say CUCV, give them the rundown on what that is.
Yeah. So the military and all their wisdom, they decided to do a contract with, Chevy back in the day, GM, and they actually made them, I think it's, what is it? Commercial utility. What's the abbreviation, James? You know it.
I don't
Commercial
know.
utility civilian
CUCV, commercial
vehicle.
utility
It's commercial
vehicle.
utility civilian vehicle is what it is. And so
Yeah.
it's like it would be like a heavy 1-ton single wheel pickup. But they had dually versions. They had ambulances, a couple of other different variations, but they were all based off the Chevy pickup, and they were all 1-ton pickups. They all had a Dana 60 in the front, 14 bolt in the rear. They were single cabs. All of them that I know were single cabs, unless it was an Air Force truck. I have seen some of them that were crew cab Air Force trucks back in
But
the
then
day.
didn't the Blazer get the treatment too, but with different
Yep.
axles?
Yeah, they're
Yeah, they'd had the
109.
Yep, in that 1009, they had just the 10 bolts front and rear. Still had 456s
Okay.
in Detroit in the rear, which never was the Detroit never was a good plan for that C-clip 10 bolt rear axle.
No, nope.
Yeah, it's funny, Caleb. You're talking about Peterson's and seeing it in there and
Yep.
thinking about the, it's kind of nostalgic, and I think you
Oh,
guys
man.
probably can identify this, but you had that stack of magazines of Peterson's and a four-wheeler, and then in the middle of it was that J.C. Whitney catalog,
Oh, yeah.
and it had
J.C. Whitney.
all the rest of the cheap gadgets that you had to have
Yes.
to put in there. Yeah.
Yeah. I drool over all of that, especially like in Peterson's, it'd be like the back couple of pages would just be like the most awesome stuff, lockers, you had people like Yukon. I'm like, man, ARB. I remember thinking, man, you'd have to be rich to be able to afford an ARB.
Yep. Yep.
So,
Well, let's do this. Why don't you each give us a rundown for those that aren't familiar on your current rig. Now I know you each have multiple rigs, but let's
Mhm.
talk about your primary square bodies for now. So Caleb, give us the rundown.
Yeah, so my square body that I wheel that I started building a couple years ago, it's coming up on 4 years ago now, is 1985 K20 single cab short. It started out a single cab long bed, and it slowly progressed into chopped down to 118-inch wheelbase because I think 118 is a really good wheelbase. After following all those Peterson's magazines and following UA for all those years, I kind of had my build under this. What can I do with it and make it the best wheeling rig and all-purpose rig? So it is still on the stock frame, but it's chopped down, like I said, to 118-inch wheelbase. I plated the frame with 3/8 plate from front to back whenever I tore it all apart because I knew the square body frames is barely 3/16 of an inch thick. So I knew that was a problem. They have issues with that breaking right the steering box and around all the braces. So did that. I am currently running a 6.2 L92 engine in it. It's great. Came out of an '08 Cadillac Escalade. It's running VVT, but I got rid of the displacement on demand. Got a really, really small cam in it. I'm thankful that I didn't go big because I feel like people that go big on wheeling rigs have issues with heating up down the road. But I have a 4L80 that is full manual valve body behind that. Uh, It's a great setup. I love being able to shift it like a manual. It's from Maximum Off-Road Transmissions. Behind that, I have a Magnum from Off-Road Design. Shout out to Off-Road Design. They make the good stuff. And then also a 205, Ford 205 behind that. For axles, I'm running a Super Duty 60 up front, which a lot of people that are square body people they get kind of weirded out when they see a Super Duty 60 on the front of a square body truck. But I did that for a couple of purposes. I'll finish this. I have 14 bolt in the rear, which is legendary. It's been great. But I did the Super Duty 60 on my truck mainly because I had never seen it done on a square body before. I'd never seen anybody do it. And so if you guys follow UA at all, one thing they look for is people that have different things because they don't want to see the same thing over and over and over again. So second purpose is I built it that way because those axles are so beefy. If you look at a Dana 60 out of a regular, CUCV Chevy pickup versus a Super Duty axle, the beef is just there. And I know how I drive. I needed all the help I could get. So I went with the Super Duty axle for that as well. And also being a high pinion, I mean, you can't beat that. So that's kind of the setup on mine. It's tricked out, in my opinion, farthest you can go. I didn't really boat side it, but I cut it up all the way to where, the rockers are completely gone and it just has a 2x6 piece of channel right there for the sliders. And I use them a lot. I built the trail bed from scratch. I just started building and kind of made up my own 33-gallon Jazz fuel cell in the back after I found out 20 gallons isn't enough for doing what I want to do. And so it's really nice. I have vintage air in it because why not? If you knew how much money I spent on this rig, what's another $2,500? So I've got some money in axles. I've got right now I've got reed knuckles on it. I've got ARBs front and rear. I'm running the Yukon lockouts. Let's see. Axle shafts. I started out with, just the heavy duty chrome moly axle shafts, and I broke them 2 times in a row. The Yukon guy couldn't believe it the second time I called back and told me there's no way. And I said, yeah, I got 2 of them to show you. So I got rid of those finally, and I got now have RCVs. Right before I went on UA this year, I put the RCVs in, and they have been nothing but greatness. So really, really proud of it. The truck works phenomenal. It'll go pretty much anywhere you point it. I really like the way it's set up, and it's been good to me. I haven't been broken, and even on UA, I can say I didn't have any issues. Which to me is a huge accomplishment. It's everyone has problems.
It's huge, and we're going to talk about your all's UA adventures more here. And if you're listening to this and you're like, what is this UA and what is this selection that he's talking about, then pause this episode, go back to the Christian Hazel episode, listen to that. You'll get caught up, and then come back in here. So, no, it's interesting as you were talking, Caleb, and again, like I said. It's kind of nostalgic thinking about these square bodies in the 90s and the catalogs, and both of you guys will get James rundown here, but both with these late model 6.2s now. And, but back to those late 90s, early 2000s when, the LT1, right, was the big boy on the block. And, a lot of people were happy just to get a throttle body 350 in one. And now look what you can pull out of the junkyard and put in there. So
it's amazing.
It's pretty cool. James, give us the rundown on that big thing sitting behind you.
Yeah, lots of similar parts to Caleb. It's that one's also an 85. It's an 85 crew cab, long bed. I cut it down to 133-inch wheelbase. L92 out of an Escalade also. Mine's a little more of an aggressive cam. No cooling problem. No cooling problems, Caleb.
I saw him squirm when you said that. Those big cam guys, yeah.
Hey, it's all right. It's all right.
That motor I got from Tilden Motorsports back when they were still around before COVID shut them down. So it's got the Tilden cam in it. Manual valve body turbo 400. Sometimes I wish I had that fourth gear like Caleb does, but I've been extremely happy with it. I've got a off-road design 203, 205 doubler in that one. Axles are straight out of the CUCV. Still has the factory 456 gears. Rear still factory, same gears, same Detroit locker from the factory. Front on UA last year, I ripped the front gears out, so it's got a fresh set of gears, and I put an ARB up front. So very similar. Reed knuckles on there. Running the off-road design link kit in the front with the Radflos shocks. I built the rear link set up myself, running 16-inch Radflos in the rear. And yeah, that's about it. Same thing as Caleb. I just wanted to do something different. Not a lot of square bodies, much less crew cab square bodies. So
yeah, that's for sure.
And just cut the frame off right behind the cab and built the kind of the trail bed out from there.
Were both of these builds, were they, aside from the fact of just wanting to do it different, were they built with a certain, we've talked about UA, a certain event or trip or type of wheeling in mind based off past experiences?
Yeah, like I mean, I've done some wheeling with you out here, but I don't do a lot of wheeling out east. I mean, most of the trails out here are all solid mud. They're small, they're narrow, they're cheap and side-by-side trails. So I really built mine for more of the out west type of Moab, Sand Hollow, New Mexico, Colorado. It's set up very well for those type of environments.
But folks, that doesn't mean he won't try it.
No, because I can make it skinny.
Yeah, when he came down to Hawk Pride, and I said, now this gets a little tight, just taking some of these wagons through there. He doesn't even listen. He's already gone. Yeah,
it's kind of like in our group when someone's like, "Hey, you can take the bypass. It's right over here, man. It's not a big deal."
Don't know what a bypass is.
That means you're gonna hit it. You're gonna hit it hard too.
Well, do you think? A couple of questions. Is the CUCV still the best bang for the buck for somebody that wants to get into a square body build today? Because obviously you're not going to get it for what Caleb paid for one back on Gov liquidation. The cat's out of the bag. And then the follow-up to that is there an Achilles heel to these trucks that has to be addressed?
I think it's still a really great platform. I mean, we've got several guys in our group that still run the factory 6.2 diesel, and they do excellent. You can buy that,
I'm smiling because we've got one of those in our group. Shout out to our buddy Roger that swears by those two. Yes, he does. Yeah.
Yep. I met him when we were down at Hawk Pride, but it's still a wonderful platform. You get super strong axles, good gearing, rear locker, bulletproof transmission. They come with a NP208 transfer case, which is a fairly low geared transfer case. People really love those. But that's a pretty solid platform to start off with. Caleb probably know more about the Achilles heel because he's serviced a lot more of them.
So there's a couple of things, and I will say this: if you are looking for one now, the chances of you finding one on GovPlanet or some of those places are almost slim to none. But if you do get on a couple of other sites, there's one called GSA. You're more than likely to find some on there, and they're old fire trucks that have been with the fire department. And the reason I know that is because at my shop, we do a lot of servicing on rural fire department trucks, and they get those on a grant program, but they end up having to give those trucks back to the state after they get done with them. Or what normally happens in the state of Oklahoma anyways is a rod comes through the block and they say, we don't want to put any money into it, and it's beat up and they want to get rid of it, and they give it back. So you can get one actually not too bad. I say that I bought mine for $1,000 back in 2015, but those days are gone. I mean, now they're 3,500 or more. I've never seen one go for less than 2,500, even if it was hole in the block. So the chances of you finding one are still out there, and I think they're a great platform.
James always finds a deal, but it seems like around here on Marketplace, they'll be anywhere from $5,000 to $15,000 that people ask for.
If they're running and driving, $5,000 is a bare minimum.
Bare minimum. if it starts, I mean, you're going to be the $7,000 Ranger. So
Yep. And so the good thing this is everybody, if you don't know about square bodies, like the ultimate thing on a square body is it has those axles. The 14 bolt, it's bulletproof, it's just legendary. And it having the Detroit already in the back, you're money ahead. So that's a
yep.
great starting point. And so I'll give you guys some knowledge. If you are looking for a CUCV and you want to start your build, if you find a truck that has the serial number and it starts out with, there's going to be 4 or 5 different letters. It'll say 1GCHC, which is a truck that has a 208 transfer case, or it'll say 1GCHD, that's a 205. So if you
Okay.
get one that's HD, it already comes with a 205. And also, it's a 50-50 shot that truck was a 1028 A1. Pro
Got
tip,
the true truck.
it has the true, so saves you a ton of money up front. You could wheel it just like that and you wouldn't have to worry about buying a front locker right off the bat.
I've got a
So
1028 sitting in the driveway right out there.
Aha.
so the 1028 is a modification that the military did after
Yep.
they got the CUCV in. So it was like a shelter carrier, ambulance, or recovery vehicle.
Okay.
So and there's also one that's a maintenance truck that has like a maintenance body on the back.
That one was a mail truck.
Oh,
You
there
can
go.
look up the history, and that one used to be a mail truck. That's why it only had 12,000 original miles on it.
That's insane.
That's nice.
So,
Wow.
but yeah, if you're looking for a good wheeling rig, there's still a great platform. And Achilles heel wise, if I could say anything, if you get the 208, it's a good transfer case. It has a little bit better load than a 205. Initially, but the chain is kind of known to have some problems if you get into some heavy wheeling. The great thing about the CUCV is with the 6.2, it is so gutless that the chances of you messing up the 208 is very low. I don't really think there's an Achilles heel. I mean, now I'm spoiled and I have, coilovers that are just insanely great, and you don't have to worry about the flopping when you forget on obstacles. But the leaf springs kind of limit you in some areas. Other than that, there's not really. I mean, it's a big truck, so if
Yep.
you don't like driving big
Size.
stuff, that's kind of the Achilles heel. It's big. You can take his bed off. I mean, that's where you can start.
Yeah. Yeah. Doesn't take long. Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah.
It's quick.
All right. Well, James, you talked about building for out west, and you guys are both part of the kind of crew, if you will, from Full Size Invasion and those adventures and trips. And if you're not familiar with Full Size Invasion, if you're not following that on YouTube and Instagram, you need to go click subscribe, because it's just such good content.
Yeah.
But tell us how you got plugged in with those events and what it's like, running around out there on those trails with a bunch of like-minded individuals in similarly equipped vehicles. So,
Yep.
Yeah, it's it's an experience when you get 25 full-size trucks built from wildly built to pretty bone stock. It makes for long days, but enjoyable. It's great camaraderie. It's a great atmosphere. I have been wheeling with full size for 4 or 5 years now, and the first time I went, I had never talked to a soul. I loaded got my truck done, had put about 2 miles on it, loaded on a trailer, and drove 1,800 miles out to Sand Hollow. And fingers crossed, I was hoping everything held together and worked out okay, because I mean, it still had the stickers on the tires when I got out there. So, but yeah,
Nice.
it did great. It's a great time. If anybody has full size, or we don't discriminate, we take Jeeps.
Yep.
I mean, anybody, like, we've had side by sides out there with us. We're just there to have a good time and help each other out, help people learn and grow.
Yep. That's what it's all about, is getting together. And that's kind of the spirit of full size, I would say, is we don't discriminate against anybody. Like, it is called Full Size Invasion. And I would say 80% of the people that we have is full size rigs, but it's different people and different walks of life. there's some people that they just show up and they're a little different, but you know what? We still like to four wheel and we like to have a good time. So it, you know, it all evens out and it's great. We don't leave anybody behind. You know, that's one of the biggest things I think I've seen, James, is somebody will show up we've never wheeled with and they're like, oh man, I
Yeah,
just didn't know if you guys would accept us. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, man, we're out here to have a good time and
yeah,
wheel. Like we're not, there's no gimmicks. Like we're just trying to have a good time and go out as a group. And if somebody breaks, we all help. We, you know, if there's
Right.
somebody that can offer some help, like me, I love the opportunity to weld. I love to weld. That's my
I
Zen
do.
place. And so if there's something to weld, I'm your man. You know, I like to do it. And I have it on my truck. I got a Premier Power Welder. That's my jam, you know?
Yeah, James.
Caleb just hopes for people to break something so he can go weld on it.
It's fun, man. It's a really a good bonding experience when something breaks because you get to, you know, some people don't take breaking down as like a good time. They're kind of frustrated. There's two people that I know, and you build it to wheel or you wheel it to build. Those are the two people that I know for wheeling, and we get both of those at full size. And I kind of enjoy the ones that wheel to build because I get to have a good time and fix things, and we get to, you know, the camaraderie is there, like James was saying. We bust each other pretty hard and, you know, give each other a hard time, but man, it's team building. And coming from fire department background, if somebody's not giving you a hard time, you know, in a
Right,
team
right.
environment, they probably don't like you, you know. And so it's really good. And I know you just asked a while ago about, you know, how we got started, and the truth of the matter is, when I started building my truck, I remember seeing James's truck multiple times on full size invasion, like just all over the place. And I'm like, man, that is such an awesome rig. And I, you know, maybe I'll get to meet that guy someday, you know, and I love square bodies, you know. And so that was kind of an inspiration, you know, to get to see all those rigs out there, you know, being out west in the red rocks and the canyons, and they're just out there driving full size rigs. And so that was kind of like some fuel to my fire to build my truck. But ultimately, I built my truck to go on UA. But
Mm,
I wanted it
That,
to be dual purpose where I could go
well, sure.
and do that as well.
that was one of my goals as well. Just, doing that
Yep.
something different. And
Yep.
What is it about Sand Hollow that seems to work so well for these rigs and these wheelbases? And maybe you're going to tell me it doesn't, but from somebody that's
oh no,
just watched it on all the Instagram clips, and maybe they just
Mhm.
edit the good ones, but man, it just seems like the perfect setup for these full size rigs.
well, first off, there's no trees, so we got that going for us out there. But I mean,
Yeah.
out Sand Hollow, I think the single cab long bed Chevy wheelbase, 131 inches, is almost the perfect wheelbase for Sand Hollow.
Yep.
Well, for the most of your 9 rated, you get up above the 9 rated trails. Caleb and I tried to tackle chain reaction just a
Oh
couple months ago.
man,
That's brutal
it was
for our
rough.
trucks.
Yeah.
So the 8 9 rated trails and down it's just the wheelbase. They do, like out there they've got the wall of doom that a 2-door Jeep just, they call the wall of doom because we can walk up in
Yeah.
2-wheel drive almost. So it's just the wheelbase does really well.
Mhm. And that's the thing, James, that you touched on that. For me, you know, full size invasion, if you go back to Jared's humble beginnings, Jared is the one that runs, Jared Jones, the one that runs full size. It was invading Easter Jeep Safari, so
Yep.
it's full size invasion. And so
Ah,
I did not know that for
He-
over a year, and I finally found that out. That's why it's
Yep.
called that. But I agree with James. That 120 to 130
Yep.
wheelbase out there in Sand Hollow is just hard to beat. And for the reason of is everybody's got a Jeep JK out there, and nothing against Jeep JKs. My current build
But
right now it's got a Jeep JK chassis on it. So I'm not dogging on it at all. I'm not a Jeep guy, but I do like that. But that wheelbase out there is used and utilized, and it makes ruts in the rocks. And so you got a truck that's 120 to 130 that pulls up on that same obstacle, and it will dominate it. And you should see some of the looks we get being a full size group whenever you just walk up a, you know, obstacle they've been trying for 30 minutes to get up and they can't do it. It's pretty cool.
Is there a standout moment from this past full size trip, whether it's a climb or a break or a recovery, a good story that comes to mind?
There's a good story almost every single time we go out.
Well, I know. Well, I'll say this. James sent me a picture in the middle of it, and he had a stack of our Overland Weekly stickers, and one of them was the perfect sticker placement. We have this sticker, which, by the way, you can go on overlandweekly.com and get your stickers. That says I'm straight, but my frame is questionable.
Oh,
and
man.
Yeah. So it was on a frame repair in the middle of full size. Yeah.
And that's going back to what we talked about earlier. Those frames, they're almost 3/16ths, and a lot of those are 40-year-old vehicles. And so you start doing the porpoise up on an obstacle like we see every full size. The probability of breaking a frame is really, really common. And that's exactly what happened. I mean, James, me, and Jackson Watson, we're all underneath a Blazer that had cracked the frame, literally right where the brake line hole that goes.
Yeah, we lost you for a second. It just right where the brake line come through the frame, cracked straight through. He had about an inch worth of frame left holding that thing on.
Yeah.
And so we got it mended on the trail, got it back. Luckily, I have family that live right about 15 minutes from Sand Hollow.
Yeah.
My cousin's got a full shop. We took it back there, got it welded up properly.
Yeah.
And he welded the rest of the week, and last day he cracked the other side pretty good. So,
oh man!
But he had gotten it home, ripped the whole front end apart. Already had a donor vehicle with the heavier frame. He had it off a K20. Had the whole thing cut off, and I hadn't even aired my tires back up yet, and he had already held the whole front of the truck pulled apart.
And that's a point there, James, you're just talking about. Like, that's what every time I've been on full size, every year I come back, and it's kind of rejuvenating. It kind of gives you some fuel to your fire as well to make things better, because you get out there and use it. And like I'm sure James has heard this from Watson, but I remember when I was building my truck, this goes hand in hand. I called Steven at Off-Road Design, and I'm like, hey, I want to do this, I want to do that, and I got all these ideas. And Steven, he's very he's got an intricate mind. He's not really one of those guys that just, tells you everything he's thinking, but in his wisdom, he said, Caleb, if I were you, I'd just go out there and I would wheel your rig, and it'll tell you what you need to do next.
There's a lot of truth in that little bit of wisdom that it'll tell you what you need to do. Yeah.
Yep. And that's what every full size, I feel like I come back and changed a few things, and it ties back into wanting to go on UA. The first year I had my truck ready to apply, because you have to apply to go on UA. I didn't have 5 miles on it, and I got into the dirty dozen, and I was like, oh crap, this could really happen, and I don't know how it's going to do. So I went on a full size, and I had to change some things immediately. And I'm actually thankful I didn't make it till a couple of years later, because my truck was finally ironed out. And I don't think it would have done as well as it did, And so I'm thankful, and that's like I'm tying that all back in, because going out there and wheeling in Sand Hollow, Moab, and getting on those trails, it's going to test every bit of your fabrication, your mechanic skills, and how your truck or your rig wheels.
How many shifting gears here? How many years did you apply for UA, Caleb?
I've applied for 3 years. Yeah, 3 years. And on my fourth attempt, I say my fourth attempt, I got an opportunity to go on my fourth attempt. My third attempt, I got to go alongside and watch James wheel his truck. But I went as the EMT for the trip, because I'm a medic firefighter on my other real job back at home. So shout out to Kenny Smith. He did me a solid and helped me get hooked up with Christian and Trent and those guys. So I got to it was cool because I knew James from Full Size, and I knew he was applying, I was applying, and of course, I was happy for him, but I was down because I didn't get picked. For the first for that year in 24. But man, when I got the call to go as the medic, I was like, "This is gonna be great. I'm gonna get good video, and I'm gonna
Yeah.
get to put something together for James. Get to catch the shots because when you're driving, you really don't get to get all the good video and the shots that you want to. It just doesn't happen, and
Yeah, I mean,
it's just
just
part of it.
that's kind of wheeling in general, right? Is
Yep.
like you're so, I can't tell you how many times I say, okay, I'm going to get great footage on this trail of everybody behind me, and you get to
Mhm.
the end, and it's like, what is this? Like,
Yep.
yeah. So
You
you
didn't do
you need
anything.
that dedicated person.
Yep.
Now, did you have to put any of your medic skills to the test on that trip?
Thankfully, I only had to one time. A lady that was wheeling with us, Renee, she got kind of had a panic attack more, but she thought that maybe she had got stung and she was starting to have a panic attack. So nothing too crazy, but I had to really coach people in dehydration
Sure.
because where we were at in New Mexico and going across the desert, you don't think about your body being dehydrated and you start having issues like your stomach's upset or you stop sweating, things like that, or you don't have any energy, headaches. And so I'm like coaching people the whole time, like, hey, you need to be drinking water, like Gatorade. Don't drink three Gatorades, drink three waters to one Gatorade. So I think I was more of a coach. I really didn't have to use any major skills, but I was ready. I brought, my medic bag with everything. I wanted it to make it worth their while for me to go. I didn't want to just sit there and just take it all in and not do any work. So I tried to help build roads, as we call it, on the trails for those guys. And I will tell you this, I felt like I got a huge opportunity because me going as a co-driver for Kenny, I was able to get an experience of UA and kind of get the feel of it before was a driver. And so, man, I felt super fortunate. James, he just got thrown to the wolves right off the bat, and he just was like, "Here we go."
James, how many times did you apply prior?
I think I was five. I think that was the fifth time, my fifth. And I think I just timed it right because that's when the whole transition from Ultimate Adventure to Unreal Adventure. Yeah. And I don't think they had that many applicants. So I think I just kind of snuck in there under the radar.
Yeah, your truck wheel's so good. That ain't no joke.
Yeah, it's not a fluke, and
No.
I think that applicant list stays pretty full from what I've been told.
Yeah, no, I think it does. Yeah.
Yeah, for
but,
sure.
Yeah, I think that was my fifth year applying.
And what for those that don't know, where was UA that year? Your first year, James?
We started it officially started in Mesa, Arizona. Mm-hmm. We actually parked the truck and trailer way up in Montrose, Colorado. So we had to drive, what was it, about 300 miles down to Mesa, and then we went up into New Mexico, up through New Mexico, up through Farmington, New Mexico, and then ended back up in Montrose.
Yep, it was quite a trek. Just getting to Arizona was a trek. That was quite a little job.
Yeah. Wow. Yep. Yeah. I think from unloading in the trailer to the 7 days later loading back up, I think I did right at 1,600 miles.
Yep.
In that week.
What do y'all think? Because everybody talks about the miles and the unknown trails and the road days. But what was the most unexpected part of both your UA experiences?
I kind of knew. I knew off the jump that it was going to be a long days because of the year before. Trent really doesn't tell you where you're going until the morning of, and so you have no idea whether you're going to drive 10 miles and wheel all day long and come right back to where you were, or if you're going to go wheel for 15 minutes and then drive 350 miles on the highway. And that is no joke. For me, I wasn't expecting, like, we had nights on this past trip this year. We had nights where we didn't get to the hotel or the camping place until 12 o'clock at night, and we've been up since 7 that morning, and it wasn't because we were broke down. Maybe somebody was, but it was just that it takes that long to drive 400 miles. We drove
Sure.
400 miles in one day, and it's a rock crawler, not a highway rig, So, yeah, and you're stopping a lot, and so for me, I knew it was going to be long, but I wasn't expecting some of those longer road days. I was kind of unexpected.
What's the top speed you guys are running on those road days?
About 65.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. 65 is like what they say the bare minimum is
yeah.
for your rig. If you have a
They say
rig,
you have to
it
travel
has
at
to
least
go 65.
65.
Yeah.
So
But
yeah, I think
Trent
65 to
goes
70.
faster than that.
Trent drives fast. That guy books it. So like
Yes.
he says that
Yeah.
we're going to go about 65, and you go look down, we're going 75, and he likes to book
Yeah.
it.
Yes. I
That's
on purpose took video of that. Us going 79 miles an hour in my truck, and I still wasn't catching him.
wow. Wow.
Yes, with 42-inch stickies. I'm like, man, this is crazy. Lord help me.
How so do you did you keep track, and you may not have wanted to, of how many gallons of fuel you burned in the week?
Yeah, I definitely did. I went through 141 gallons of fuel.
Yeah.
So,
I was getting right about 9-10 miles a gallon, so I was 100 the whole week, 160, 170 gallons.
yeah, yeah. And it was just one of those things where I didn't have the smallest fuel tank, and that's one of the things wheeling with those guys in full size. We would in Moab, you drive far distances to get to a trail to start the trail. Well, in Sand Hollow, you don't do that, but I had a 20-gallon tank, and man, I would get to where I'd have a quarter tank of fuel by the time I got back into town wheeling in Moab. And I remember like one of the cronies, Ken Smith, would be like, "Hey, man, you're trying to get on UA. You might want to have a little bit more capacity than that. You might
Mm.
think about that." And I'm like, "Oh man, that's a good idea." Because you don't want to be the guy that's broke down. I mean, who wants to be broke down anyways? But you don't want to be the guy, especially on that trip, that's broke down, or hey, I ran out of fuel because I don't know how to, wire a fuel gauge, something like that. So it was kind of one of those things where I learned, hey, this is a modification that I need to do, and that's one of the things I changed for the trip.
I just carried extra fuel because my tank's like 17 gallons, so
James
I
living
just
on the
had to,
edge.
yeah, I like to live on the edge.
What James, do you James has got, if you hadn't seen the setup on the back of James's rig, and Caleb, yours may be similar, but James has a really slick Milwaukee pack out setup on there. Everything's super organized, able to grab what he needs. How do you carry your fuel? Are you a Rotopax guy? Are you what's your setup?
Mine's a giant loop. It's a canvas. It's like a canvas fuel can. So it's like like I got that for UA because I had so much gear, and that you can strap where you want. I just strapped it right to the top of my spare tire. So and after you're done with it, you just roll it up and it's done. Stephen Watson turned me on to that, and it's been it's awesome. Yeah, you can throw it wherever you want.
How many gallons does that hold?
5 gallons, and since it's all gravity fed, and it's like a big giant Ziploc bag in there, it just collapses, so it dumps real quick too.
Nice.
Yeah, that's slick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, are there any UA stories that either of you can share that you haven't maybe shared publicly before? I believe as we're recording this, I believe the final episode, YouTube episode for this year's UA is out. So we're not there's no secrets now, Caleb. You can tell us the good stories. Yeah.
Yeah, there's during the week, James can tell you too, the film crew, they do film all the time. I don't know how many hours of film that they take, but it is astronomical how much
It's a lot.
goes film. I know, knowing what I know about filming, those guys are relentless. I mean, they're super good at what they do. And man, you talk about another level. Ryan Foss and those guys, they just kill it. But anyways, I'm always amazed, like back at the hotel or the camping nights. I've really had a good time. Like when I went with James and we did 24, we had a lot of burn bans going on, and so we didn't even a couple of nights we didn't even get to burn a campfire. And that's kind of like part of camping, right? Is you
Right.
get to burn the campfire. And I've told you guys this before, but being a fireman, you got to love fire a little bit. It's kind of just in you. But we didn't get to burn the fire, but we did sit around a lot and shoot the breeze, which is the best part, in my opinion, of UA, is that, hey, the film and the cameras have turned off and we're
Mhm.
sitting around, and now we can just say what we want to say. You guys know what I mean? And things are happening in real time. So like that first year for me, James, when I went with you guys, and Jessica was there too, it's really cool. We got to hear people's backstories about how they got to where they are. And I got to meet, James knows him too now, Corey Holmes, a friend of ours who had the international in 23, international scout named Smush. And dude, this guy is crazy as can be. I mean, he is the life of the party. He's got always something to say, and he's the most upbeat, nicest guy. But I'm telling you guys right now, he's got a wild story about being arrested, how he got into hot rods. It's insane.
Got more than
But
one wild story.
Oh, there's so many, it's not even funny. He has the most iconic laugh. If you guys watch UA, you'll hear it. But I'm just thinking about it makes me laugh. But I got to learn about his life story. But like, I loved one of my favorite parts about UA was just getting to get to know people more in depth. And being in that open air where we're not being filmed and everybody's just opening up and having a good time. Like, that was just some of the best times that I had on the trip, especially 24, even with no campfire burning and we were cold in the desert, but it was still great.
Yeah.
So when the cameras are off, it's more just like a trip with your boys and hanging
Oh,
out.
yeah.
Definitely. Yeah,
Even
100%.
when the camera's on, but yeah.
Yeah, but
Well,
yeah,
but
to
more so,
Caleb's
yeah.
point, yeah.
Well, yeah, a little more relaxed
yeah,
atmosphere.
yeah. More of the boys, I would say, for
But
sure. But and so this year for me, being I didn't know this much. You know how it goes, guys. Whenever you're in the driver's seat, you're a little bit more concerned about things that are happening. Whenever, instead of just being a passenger, it's like, hey, I'm here. But you're trying to make sure everything is right on your rig after every day. You check it because you've been through some things, and you need to make sure bolts are tight and drive lines not falling out, stuff like that. But I really liked some of my favorite parts other than 24 was this year. Like, people would come up and they get to know you, but then they would help you. Like, it's kind of that same mentality, like on full size. They'll get underneath there and help you check bolts and check things out. Like, there's not someone better than anybody else. Like, it was really, for me, it was just a great experience to get to meet those people. Like Vern Simons, for instance, super awesome guy. Just help anyone, just smart as can be.
Oh,
He
super
just
talented. Yeah.
Oh
yeah,
man, you talk about a fabricator. He has reached the levels so many would love to be at, including myself. He is just amazing. But he climbed under my truck one night and was just, he didn't really want to do anything, but we're just like hanging out. We're just talking and we're laying underneath there
Just under the truck, just a couple
under
of
my
dudes
truck.
just hanging
Yeah,
out.
just hanging out. And I'm tightening up a drive line bolt, and I wasn't even under there for very long, but he just pops underneath there, and he's got his beverage and he's just chilling, and we're talking, and I've got a headlight on, and like, man, that was, just those little spots in those trips, like, it just makes it so much more worth all the hard work of building your rig and all those long days and nights of making it what it is. That's what you live for, is those spots. And so, if you're thinking about getting on UA, I know I'm plugging it here, but it's the most life-changing event. If you guys have never been or even looked at it, go check it out on YouTube. It's awesome. Even whenever it was Ultimate Adventure, it was awesome too. But apply to it. There's not someone that does it better than others. We have people that are on Leaf Springs every single year, and they do great, no
yep.
problems. But if you're thinking about it, apply, because you will not be sorry that you did. It is so awesome, and it changed my life for sure, for the
Oh,
better.
absolutely. I don't remember who said it, was Christian or Trent. Our first day, they said it'll change the way you look at wheeling. And it did. Before I went on UA, I had driven my truck more than 100 miles ever, like at a time. And now I hopped in it 2 weeks ago, went down to Hawk Pride for RBD, and it was 22 degrees in the morning. I got my heated jacket on, my heated gloves, but yeah, I mean, before
Nice.
UA, I never in a million years would have jumped in that thing and drove it 150 miles, wheeled it super hard for 2 days, and then drove it home. It really does change the way you look at off-roading.
100%. Yep.
Speaking of UA trucks, I'm gonna try to shift gears a little bit here, and we've talked about the square bodies, but Caleb, there's another full size vehicle that you own now. That you purchased more than you built. Now you've made it your own, but you bought Louis V10 or Louis V10 from David Chappelle. We started this talking about you're a GM guy from a GM family, and you drove across the country. You documented this. There is a YouTube video. You drove across the country and you bought this Ford and a V10 at that from Dave and drove it back. Fill us in on how all that transpired.
Real quick, I put one of your stickers on his truck on Louis V10 also. And I put right before it through the filler neck. I put a bought not built.
Perfect.
Perfect. That was perfect placement. It was great. Yeah. So Louis Vuitton, the way that I ended up with that is, anybody that's in the off-road, fabrication community or just even dirt every day, people that love the show, right? They know Dave Chappelle. They know, they know the deal. So, Dave's one of those guys. He's hard not to like. He's just a great, he's just one of us, right? And so I went to SEMA in 2022, and I got to meet Dave, and then just had one conversation with him there. Just, hey man, I'm a big fan. Tried not to fangirl out on him and Fred at SEMA.
But you did, right?
Yeah, you did. You got to give them props. I mean, they've been
Absolutely.
around,
They've
They're
earned
great
it.
dudes.
Yeah.
And so anyway, so 23 rolls around, and I'm like, I'm gonna go back and see. I'm gonna go to SEMA. So I went to SEMA again, and I remember, Dave drove the truck from Spokane, and he drove it all the way to Vegas, and he left it just like it was in UA form. So this thing is like, fresh off the trail. And I remember I thought that was just so amazing that he drove it down there like that, right? So everything in me is GM hard to the hardcore, right? And so it's hard not to like it, right? It's got a Super Duty 60, which I like that. I like that axle. It has lockers in it. Who doesn't like lockers? It's proven itself on UA. It had, I think he broke one stub shaft in the front, but fixed it on the side of a cliff in West Virginia, which is no big deal. That's typical, Dave Chappelle stuff. So I made a comment, and I'm like, hey, we saw him at the SEMA Fest. Me and Ryan, my brother-in-law, we both went there together. We got a T-shirt. I still have it to this day. It's literally a Louis Vuitton T-shirt, and it's like "Stay Rad." Dave signed it, and literally fangirled out on him, right? And it's Louis Vuitton in the background, and I'm like, man, that's such a cool shirt. Well, I told him, I said, man, if you ever would get rid of that, like, man, you should let me know. And I'm thinking, this guy don't know me from Adam, whatever. So this is probably a couple months later. I go to Easter Jeep Safari, the beginning of the next year, and I see Dave. He's wheeling Mom's Spaghetti. And we hang out, and he's like, man, were you serious about, buying that? And I'm like, well, yeah, I'm definitely serious about it. Are you thinking about selling it? And he said, yeah. So that was the end of it. I thought that was done, right? So a couple months later, he calls me up on the phone. I'm like, who's this number? I don't know who this is. Don't know how he got my number even, but he did. And he's like, hey, are you still interested in Louis Vuitton? I'm like, this is Dave Chappelle. Are you serious? Calling my cell phone? You know what I mean? So he gave me the price on it, and I told him, I said, man, Dave, I'm kind of in a spot right now. I can't afford it. I don't need to afford it. Right. I probably could if I needed to, but I'm just not a Ford. I even told him this. I'm like, I'm not really a Ford guy. I probably shouldn't. So I hung up the phone, and immediately it's like closing time at my shop. I immediately started thinking about it. I just didn't feel right about it. I'm like, man, that thing is awesome. I've watched the whole build series. I know what it is. So I get my calculator out. I am my dad's child. I got the calculator out and I started thinking about all the parts. And I'm like, okay, coils, trailing arms, lockers, all this stuff. And I'm like, for the money he's asking and for what it is, I would be stupid not to buy this. So I called him back immediately and I was like, can you give me 1 week? So I bought it. I bought it. I said, hey, I got to get some time off from the fire station. Give me like 3 weeks. I'll be there. And he's like, no, that's fine. I have some things I want to do to it before you get here. And he's like, what are you going to do? Have him ship it back? And I said, nope. I said, I'm going to drive it all the way back home. I'm going to make a video on it and all that. And he was like, are you serious? I was like, yeah, all the way to Oklahoma. So me and my brother-in-law, we flew out to Spokane, made the purchase, and it was great, man. We got to hang out in the dirt head shed. We got to work on the truck a little bit with Dave. I made a video on it, and just and I'm sure James could tell you the same thing. Like these guys that you meet in this community, off-road community, you become lifelong friends with people that you never would have met, not even at all, if you weren't into wheeling and stuff like that. And so me just making, conversation with Dave, that got me to where I was in a position to buy it. And now I'm in the dirt head shed hanging out with him in his shop, me and Ryan, and we're shooting the YouTube video with Dave. Like, I'm like, man, this is so awesome. Like, I was just like, couldn't believe, I had to pinch myself. Like, is this real? And so, we drove it all the way back home, and we went and wheeled it. We got to wheel with another buddy of ours, Matt Anderson, who has the dent side forward. He's on full size all the time. He also lived in Spokane. We wheeled with him, Dave, and a couple other friends, and me and Ryan and Louis Patin before we left, and made a YouTube video on that, and kind of got to test it out. And I told Dave, I felt bad whenever I bought it. I said, hey, I gave him the check first, and then I said, will you be upset if I change a few things? Because I don't want to make you mad, like I didn't want him to feel like, hey, I messed up the whole lineage of Louis Vuitton. And he said, man, you bought it, it's yours, you do whatever you want to. That's just how cool Dave is, right? He wouldn't care.
Well,
So,
I thought it
anyways,
was watching that video, Caleb, and it's been a little bit, but I remember watching it, and it's exactly what you said, that it Dave, being the most honest, genuine person that he is,
mhm,
is telling you, now I didn't get time to fix this, and I wanted to look at this bolt over here, but he almost
yep,
didn't want to let it go because he hadn't fixed everything yet, and
yep,
I thought that was
yeah.
cool.
Well, it was really cool, and it was kind of one of those moments that I'll cherish for a long time, I'm sure. But when he called me to offer it to me, he's like, I don't want to sell this to anyone. And I thought to myself, well, he's probably just saying that so he can sell it, right? But knowing Dave now more in depth, I know he meant that. And the reason why he told me, he said, I wanted somebody that's going to actually wheel it and that they will be a good steward of it and they'll, make it better than it is, because there's some things that need to be finished, in his words. And after I wheeled it, I understood what he meant by finish. There were some things that definitely needed addressed. So anyway, that whole experience was so good, and meeting those guys and hanging out, it made for a great transaction. And Dave's a good friend now. Like, I can pick up the phone and call him at any time now, and it's really cool to watch, to be able to go from me on YouTube watching this guy in his shop, and I'm like, this guy doesn't know me at all, to now I can pick up the phone and call him. Like, it's pretty cool. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm pretty stoked about that.
What for those that aren't aware, fill us in on some of those changes and updates. One of them is really obvious when you see the truck now, but what have you done to it?
So when I got it from Dave, it had the fleet side bed, just 8 foot long. It was a single cab long bed pickup. It's had a regular bed on it. It had some rock sliders on it that were they were on there, put on pretty quickly so Dave could make it to UA, because his form of getting to UA is like, you got literally 2 days and you got 16 things to do. So they
Always,
were
yep.
throwing on, that's how he rolls. And he pulls it off every year. So
Well,
props to him.
last year was changing the oil in the parking lot of the hotel because you ran out of time to do it
That's
right
Dave.
before we left.
But it had some pretty chintzy rock sliders on it that weren't very tough, just to be honest with you. The bumper was made out of the same material from a company that they just don't make the most heavy duty things, or I should say to my standard, I guess would be a better way to put it. So when we wheeled it, I noticed that it needed some of the, when you're going off of things, that deproach angle, the coming down off things, I needed to get rid of that. And so I ended up cutting 1.5 feet of the frame off the back. I did not change the wheelbase at all. I didn't move the axle. I didn't change any of the suspension. I just cut 1.5 feet off the frame, and I went to a old fleet step side bed from the fleet side. So it's a 62 model Ford F100 step side bed. And I'm kind of giving myself away here, but if you look at it real close, the fenders, they're chopped down, but they're actually swapped. So if you look at the truck real close, you'll see they're supposed to be on opposite sides. And the reason I did that is the way that the fender opening was, the opening was bigger on the front of the stock ones, and I needed the fender to be opening more on the rear to accommodate the wheel being so far back. So if you look at it in detail, you can see that. I put some rock sliders on it that are 3/8 wall, 2x6, because I knew I was going to use them. Like I said earlier, they go almost the full length down the side. And the biggest thing I did that helped that truck immensely was I cut out on those Super Duties, the frame comes over the axle and dips down in the front 1 foot. And it goes down, and it's probably made for like snow plows or something industrial where it could hook onto the front of the frame rail. But I end up cutting that off almost 8 inches of frame out, and I put plate on the bottom, and I brought up that approach angle to where I gained almost 10 inches total from bringing that up. And I tucked the bumper way in. I recessed the winch into the frame rails, actually where it's almost behind the grill. So I took away its Achilles heels, and it's 129-inch wheelbase. And so it's a really, really good wheelbase. That's why I didn't want to mess with it. I didn't change a ton on the inside. I didn't change the front fenders, nothing like that, because I even left the real truck on the side of it because it is Louis Vuitton still. And Dave told me I should take that off and put my name on the side of it. Literally on UA, we're talking about it. I'm like, I'm not doing that. It's got to be Louis Vuitton. So I put a headache rack on the back just to kind of tie in the bed and all that. But just some small things. But man, taking it to Sand Hollow, it definitely was good. All those things came in handy, and I was really proud of all the things that I've changed. So
no, that it's really very strategic in the modifications that you've made to it in what was already literally a UA truck.
Yep.
But it's interesting, how these continue to evolve. And I'll tell you, when I was watching Dave first build that truck in those episodes, for me, it was eye-opening for that platform. I'm not saying I'm going to go buy a Super Duty, but you get, okay, well, these are pretty affordable now, standard cab, long box, and you just kind of put tires on it and go.
Yep.
So
they're a great platform. I don't know what scares people away from them, or if it's just not something that's used a lot, but it's big. The inside of it is nice. That's the biggest difference between my square body and that Super Duty. I am way more comfortable wheeling that Super Duty inside. You could just chill out. You have room. Square body is not like that on the inside. You're a little more cramped up. Now, I love that truck, but the Super Duty hands down has way more room. So it's pretty nice when you're wheeling.
Well, James, I want to talk about your other little project that I believe has been going on for a little while.
Now. It's actually been a couple years now.
Yeah. So James has multiple square bodies, but he has one particular that he's told me about that you call Jolene. Give us the rundown on Jolene.
Well, it was actually the first time I met Caleb. We were in Moab, and my wife was with me, and we were hauling bounds on back roads right behind the pickle. And, I'm going pretty quick. I'm going probably 40, 45. And Riley Watson blows past me in the ditch in the off-road design convertible. And she goes, "Why can't you keep up with him?" I said, we can keep up with him. Costs a little bit more money, but we can keep up with him. So my wife determined she liked to go fast through the desert. So we are, building what I hope is kind of a mix between a rock crawler and a go fast truck. So, and she named it Jolene because I'm always in the garage working on it, and she says it's taking me away. So
It's great.
Well, there's Jolene has her own Instagram account.
My wife started that, yeah, because
yeah.
She everybody's always like, well, how'd you do this? How'd you do that? I was like, I'm not a big picture taker. I don't film anything. I don't post a lot. So she has started an Instagram to start using what pictures I did take to kind of show the progression of it.
She's doing a great job, by the way.
She's doing an awesome job, and your fabrication skills, of course, really shine through. She does a good job of showing it. The thing that struck me on this truck, James, and I want you to give everybody the total rundown to how it stands now, but it is one of the, I don't know, very few, if any, pinched square bodies that I've seen, and how clean you did that pinch. So tell us about the kind of your thoughts on that and the fabrication that went into it, because it's really slick.
Yep. We got wheel with several people that have pinched front ends.
Okay.
And the reason I did that is because on Leroy, the tan one, like Caleb was talking about approach angle, the bumper it hinders. It's one of my Achilles heel is the approach angle of that thing.
Yes.
As you saw, Davey and Hawk Pride, that whole front end bumper is just, it hinders me a lot.
You kept trying to bulldoze your way through it, but yeah.
So,
so I wanted to pinch it. I wanted to get the fenders out of the way. I wanted to increase that approach angle to where I could have just all rubber on the rocks. Now the bumper, it does still stick out a ways, but I can definitely not as much, and I can take a little bit more of an angle and get a better angle on things. So that's and as far as the pinching it, I'm slow. I spend more time staring at stuff before I'll spend 50 minutes staring at something and then 10 minutes of working on it. So I move slow, and I just make sure I'm a little particular, and I just make it the way I like it and want it.
Well, you do a great job at it. It really shows. So I'm excited to hopefully see that one on a trail or in a desert sooner rather than later.
Hopefully just another month or two we'll have that thing. My goal is to have it done and do some testing, and this time do some shakedown runs before full size invasion and Easter Jeep this year. So it's coming up quick.
So are you guys going to take both of them out there? Is it going to be a his and hers, or?
If I buy a new trailer big enough to haul both of them by then, yes. If not, we'll just take one.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like I'm going down that road too, James. Building this next rig, I'm going to have a 38 or a 40-foot trailer. It's just inevitable.
I need a 35 or 36 footer.
It makes you do things you don't want to do, right, James?
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, I'm excited to get that one on the road. It's been a couple of years in the making now.
And so one thing I could say about James, and he won't ever brag on himself. I don't, you may or may not know that, Davey, but he won't brag on himself at all. He's a super humble guy, and his fabrication skills are awesome. Like he's one of those dudes where the proof's in the pudding, like it just works. And I'm always really excited to see, how he did something or look up underneath there and be like, oh, that makes sense why he did that. And James is a studier. I can tell he does a lot of research and studying. And then, part of that building, like he was talking about, the standing back and looking at it for 15 minutes and then working on it for 5, that's something that takes time. And James is great at that. Like me, when I first started, I wanted to work on it for 15 minutes and stare at it for 2 seconds. And I want to get out there and get wheeling. That is not the way to do it. The way to do it is the way James is doing it. And I'm telling you, on this new build, I can't wait to see it in person, James. But I know that thing is just rad. It looks like it wants to party when it's sitting still. Like
Yes. Yeah.
you guys have seen a Corvette like a Stingray, and you're like, man, that thing is ready to move. That truck right there in the background where you're at, James, that thing looks like it's ready to party.
Yeah. Look at that front end, man. Yeah.
So,
It's just, yeah.
Legit.
Well, I hope. I've never said I knew. I never claimed to know what I was doing. So we'll see if it works out.
Well, your trucks say otherwise.
There you go. All right, guys. So what big adventures do you two have on the horizon for this year? Are you getting together to wheel soon?
Yeah, we're gonna
Yeah.
plan on full size Easter Jeep,
Mhm.
a Rubicon trip. I'm sure we'll
Yep.
throw a Sand Hollow trip in there somewhere.
Got to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the goal. I know I always look forward to full size. And last year I did full size the week before and then Easter Jeep the second week. Because another pro tip, if you guys want to help your chances of getting to go on UA, I keep going back to that. I guess I'm that guy. But everybody that is going to be going on UA, that is part of the crony group or anybody that's significant on UA, they're going to be in Easter Jeep. So you can wheel with them and hang out with them and have a good time. And it's just a really good time to get to know each other. So last year I went and hung out for 2 weeks there in Moab and it was awesome. Like just had a great time. And so I'm looking forward to that. Obviously full size, we have a family, we'll be getting together. And then last year, one thing we didn't talk about, James, we rented like a big compound.
Oh, yeah.
And stayed in Moab. Used to be, what was it called? Dixie 4-wheel drive, I think is what
It was
the
Dixie
old-
Full
what the-
Drive's warehouse.
Yeah, there's a big warehouse. We rented that as a group and stood and stayed there. People camped in the back. People stayed in some of the rooms inside. It was just an awesome time. We has a game room. It's huge, and I enjoyed that. I hope we do that
Yeah.
again this year. I think that's the plan. But that's coming up. And I've never been to Rubicon. I know James has been to Rubicon, and I'm taking my wife this year. She's never been on a legit wheeling trip, so hopefully that's a good one to break her in on. And then for sure, I'm hoping to go to Sand Hollow, meet all of our friends and see
Yep.
Justin.
That's my
And
cousin.
Kathy. Yeah.
And Caleb, you and I were talking earlier, and you're going to try to sneak over here to the East Coast, Beast Coast this year as well.
Yep, that's the plan. I'm trying to go. Those AWE guys, I love them. They're just good people, and we got a really good group. Like I know I keep saying that. I sound like a broken record, I guess, but they're my people. We get along with everybody, and Robert and Jack. How can you not like those guys? Dentside Dave. I mean, they're all those guys are good dudes. I'm trying to remember some of the other guys. Kenny's going to be there. He's a crony for UA. He always goes. My brother-in-law Ryan with his big yellow crew cab square
School bus?
body. He'll be. Yep, it's called the school bus. I think he's actually going to get a tag of that. James, I haven't told you that yet.
Ooh.
His plan is to get the tag and say school bus or maybe short bus. I can't remember which
Short
one.
bus.
Maybe short bus. I think that's what he's going to do. But he's going to be there. So a lot of good square body action, going on during Kentucky. And I've never wheeled over there, so I'm really looking forward to that, to be honest.
And I'm sure I'll hit up a couple more things going on over here, and yeah. But I'll hear about something, and a week later I'll go and do it. They're not always planned.
Or I'll text him and be like, "Hey, are you going?" And he's like,
Yeah.
"No, I wasn't
Well, I
planning,
wasn't planning on it, but sure, I'll go.
Threaten me with a good time.
All right, gentlemen, let me run through our rapid fire questions
All right.
before we
Yeah.
wrap this one up. So question number one, James, we'll start with you. Favorite off-road trail snack?
Oh man, it's something my cousin's wife makes, Kathy. I don't even know what it is. It's wonderful. It's chopped meat with Italian dressing on a tortilla. It's just wonderful, full of onions. I don't know what she called it.
Your
It's great.
cousin's wife's
Wife makes
chopped meat Italian tortilla
Dressing,
thing. Okay.
tortilla thing. Wonderful.
All right, that's a first. I haven't had that one before.
It's wonderful.
Yeah, I hadn't heard. I mean, I think I did try it and it is really good. I think you might have gave me like one piece of that. It
So
was good.
it's good.
Yeah. For me, I'm pretty bare bones. I'm a beef jerky guy. I'm a certain type of beef jerky. I really like the Ortega. I don't know how you say it, but it's a white bag. I really like that beef jerky. It's just good, moist, not super chewy, and I don't know. I just like the way it tastes. So I'm a beef jerky guy.
Beef jerky. All right. That's a pretty common one.
Yep.
But I like that you've got a specific favorite,
Hmm.
All right. Caleb, if you could only listen to one artist or one album while you're on the trail for the day.
Oh man. Well, you guys, I am from Oklahoma, so you probably are thinking I'm going to say something country, but I'll be honest with you, that's not my wheeling setup. I'm more of a late '90s, early 2000s rap. I just like
Okay.
I just like that, Little John, the East Side Boys, Usher, like, I just like those guys, 3 6 Mafia. Like I said, I'm from Oklahoma. You're probably thinking that's crazy, but that's my jam when I'm
I
rolling.
didn't see it coming, but I can respect that answer. So
It just got a good beat that just gets you going, kind of hypes you up. It's good stuff.
this is something I hadn't asked before, but does your playlist change from day run to night run?
Oh, for sure. You
Yeah.
got to. You got to match the energy. I'm all about matching the energy, Davey. I'm all about it. Like we can't play no sad songs or wheeling. That's the best times. You got to play some upbeat stuff. It's fun. So, nighttime, it ramps that up even more.
Yeah. All right, James, what about you?
Well, if I had a radio, I it has no doors, no radio, no AC, no heater. But I mean, I'm a country guy, more of a Texas style country. I listen to Robert Earl Keen. It's one of my
Ooh.
favorites.
I like
Hmm.
that.
Yeah.
All right. James, DeWalt or Milwaukee?
I use Milwaukee. I
Yeah.
think I just had really good luck with them. They have all the tools I need. They seem to have the widest variety of stuff for their power plant, and it seems like the majority of the people use Milwaukee. So you've got spare batteries, and you can share
Yeah.
batteries and tools back and forth.
Eh,
For me, Davey, I actually am a DeWalt guy, and
There we
this
go.
is kind of a twofold
There
answer,
we go.
right?
Yeah.
So when I first started my shop, I've owned my diesel repair shop for 7 years now. I was gifted a large amount of DeWalt tools that were cordless, not lithium ion, batteries. Even then, it was NiCad,
Oh,
but
these were
I had.
the 18 volt and 12 volt
Yep.
old ones. Yep.
So I started out with that, and so I naturally progressed with a little bit better lithium ions, and I stayed with DeWalt. And I have actually just in the past year switched all my shop over to Milwaukee, and so my truck has I've switched sides, but my wheeling truck right now has all my DeWalt stuff that is I've transitioned from. And so it still works good. I'm not going to lie, it all works great, no problems. But I'm quickly becoming a Milwaukee guy through and through.
But when what you're saying is when you need to count on something out there on the trail, it's black and yellow that you reach for. So I don't know
That
what that says, but yeah.
Hey man, people change, things change. Hey, quality is quality. You learn the mechanic and what's good and what's bad.
All right. Caleb, so this next question, just first one that comes to mind without thinking about it too much. Hardest trail you've ever run?
Oh, that's easy. That's the one we just did. Chain
100%.
reaction. I was trying whenever I saw some of the questions, I was like, oh yeah, I was thinking about it, and then I was like, oh, that's a no brainer. Chain reaction. I didn't have my square body on chain reaction this last time, but even in my square body, that is a challenging trail. And you talk about one obstacle after another. And here's the thing about that one that James can vouch for. If you try a line and it doesn't put you in a good spot, the chances of you being on your side and grinding the truck all the way down to the bottom are about 80-20.
Yeah.
I mean,
Nice.
it's not very good. So the risk and reward is not there, but it's very challenging. That's the toughest one in my book right now.
Yeah, no, that was a tough. Same for me. We only got halfway done with it. I think how many
Barely.
rigs started out? We started out with 5.
Yeah.
No, it was 5 or 6, 5, 6, 7, somewhere there. But
Yeah.
it just ended up being the 3 of us at the end because
Yeah,
everybody else.
we lost one guy in a Jeep. We lost him at the fourth obstacle in, and we lost another guy because he just like, this is too much. He just straight up was like, I'm not.
Very well built Jeeps.
Yes.
So this is not one of those trails that you run on the first day. This is the go broke or go home trail. Yeah. Okay.
Last day. That was the last one.
I mean,
And it's one we'd never done on full size as well. So
our trail guide. Oh, yeah. Our trail guide was a rear steer buggy, and he.
Yes.
I mean, even the second obstacle, it took him a while to get up the second obstacle. I'm like, this
Yeah.
isn't going to go well.
Yeah, I was watching him struggle, and I'm like, man, if he's struggling, wow.
I put tires on it though. I always will.
Oh, I was proud. You did good, James. I didn't even try that line. That was not for me.
James will put tires on anything.
I know.
Yeah, every time.
I will too if I got my other truck, but Louis Vuitton's too nice to do that too.
All right. Well, we kind of started all this with the square body talk, and the square body ran from, and you guys may correct me if I'm wrong, was it 73 to 87 for the
87 for the trucks.
For the trucks, but then the SUVs,
91s for the crew cabs, Suburbans, and
Blazers.
Blazers.
So, that's a long run, and manufacturers used to do that. They used to find a platform that worked, man, and they just built it, and we all loved it. And now every 2 years they have to go reinvent everything. But nonetheless, final question, Caleb, we'll start with you. Favorite square body year?
I would have to say for me in the 85, and just mainly because that was the truck I got in high school whenever I first started driving, and so it was like my first taste of freedom, if you will, was walking out to that truck wherever I was going and getting in it and burning out in the 305 one tire fire and heading out. Like that was. I just love the dual headlights, the grill on the 85. I just think it looks good. It's got the wide band across the middle that color matches.
Yep.
That was,
and 85 was my brother's first one as well. It was a 4-wheel drive, and it had the big chrome roll bar, the Fall Guy looking roll bar with the knockoff KC lights and
gotta have it.
What about you, James? Favorite year?
Mine's the 89 to 91. That was my Jimmy. The one I really got me into wheeling was an 89, and it's got the side-by-side headlights with the blinker below. It's got the chrome grille on it. It was unique to those 3 years, and that was my favorite. That's my favorite front end. Because honestly, in square bodies, that's about all that changes is the front end.
Yeah.
You're
right.
There was a 12, 13-year-old stretch there where exact same fenders, everything is exactly the same. It's just that grill and headlights change. So
yep.
So when you talk about favorite year, it's really about what's your favorite grill.
You're right. You're absolutely right. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, gentlemen, this has been a good conversation. I appreciate both of y'all coming on here, and hopefully some folks that are listening to this. We've got, listeners that have grown up doing this like a lot of us, and folks that are new to it and trying to get caught up on what all these models are and what it means. So hopefully we gave them a little bit of education as well.
Yep.
All right. Well, it's a week before Christmas here as we film this. So if I don't talk to you guys, have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
So you too. Right. I appreciate it. This is fun.
You too, Davey. Thanks for having us on. It was really nice, man.
See you guys.
All right, Davey. See y'all later.
See ya.